So breaking news, we just got the numbers in from unemployment claims filed last week. Unfortunately, they remain approximately 1.3 million additional people filing for unemployment just last week. That pushes the total number of Americans who have filed for unemployment since Corona began to 50 million. So put this in perspective. Wow. The United States workforce is 160 million. That's almost 1/3 of the entire workforce, which has filed for unemployment at some point here. What's going on? And really, actually, to mask something that's even worse, is the permanent layoffs and the UI claims continue to be indicative of an economy. This is from Adam Ozimek, who's an economist I really respect, which is an economy that is going into a recession, not out of one, because the rise of those permanent job layoffs show that when you won't have your job in 6 months, that shows prolonged recession. The temporary comeback of recall of some jobs, of people going back to restaurants, has been masking the fact that we're sliding into an economic recession in one of those metrics that Washington just doesn't want to pay attention to. They want to pay attention to the top line employment number. The permanent job loss number is what we care about most, right?
Right.
Because the temporary ones
aren't coming back.
Temporary ones can be fixed. We fixed Corona, they come back. 1.6 million, 2 million, 3 million people who have lost their job forever. Wow. That is something we have not grappled with as a society. What are we going to do? Unemployment, jobs program? Not one word of this is being talked about here. And it goes to show you that this thing is going to be with us for years, maybe even decades.
Well, and even the, we fixed Corona and we can get back to work idea is looking more and more absurd and fanciful. I mean, we're not even out of the first wave and we've utterly failed. Forget about a second potential wave. And God knows when we'll ultimately be able to get a vaccine or a therapeutic. Like, you can't count on that in the near term. And some of the signs that we've been looking at closely here from the beginning is on housing. And new indications that in New York City in particular, 25% of renters have not paid rent since March. Nationwide, 30-some% of housing payments have not been made this month.
Apartment List.
According to Apartment List. So you have, and this is just like, I can't even wrap my head around what that means in terms of the cascading effects within our economy. I mean, this is not like, oh, and then that person is in trouble. This is like, no, then your whole financial house of cards absolutely collapses. We know what this looks like. We've been down this road before, and I don't understand why alarm bells and sirens and like people are running around with their hair on fire looking at these are record numbers of non-payment in terms of rent and in terms of mortgages, and everyone just seems to be like going around like business as usual.
The Senate is literally on vacation. They're literally doing business as usual. And at the same time, and we're seeing this all cascade through what society is going to look like, this is what I feared the entire time. Stanford University, they're actually one of the best one of the best in sports that are out there. They just announced they're going to cut 11 varsity teams of their intercollegiate one of the most successful athletic departments in the country, and they're just going to cut 11 different teams there. Obviously, I feel terrible for the students, but it's like
terrible for those athletes.
That's happening at an elite university with huge, they have a huge endowment and all of that. If you're a regular business, what are you going to be able to bring back? We're going to live in a society where so many things have just been cleaved off through a choice. We're going to have a choice in order to all collectively suffer rather than we have the solution. Like, the potion is sitting there and they just refuse to spend more money in Congress. It's disgusting.
This is one of those stories that I think it really erupted online yesterday about Stanford cutting all of those sports. And like you, my heart breaks for those student athletes because I know how I was a swimmer in college. I know how hard, how much they invest in that and their heart and soul, how much work they put into it, and just have it pulled out from under you is heartbreaking. But it's it's like a little window into how many things that we've sort of taken for granted as normal in this country are going to just vanish, right? And this is like one of those leading indicators, one of those signs of things to come. This is just the beginning in terms of the ways we can't even comprehend that are coming. I keep coming back to Richard Wolff's comments to us here in that interview where, he's like, look, I've predicted 14 of the last 8 crises, but I'm telling you, I've never seen what we are facing right now. I've never seen these metrics. I've never seen the lack of response. I've never seen what we are facing down right now. So with the jobless, the unemployment claims continuing to come in, basically the same number this week as last week, which is also not a good sign. You do see the continuing unemployment claims coming down a little bit. So that's, somewhat hopeful, but massive permanent job loss, mass numbers of people who are unable to pay their rent, unable to pay their mortgage, and we are just beginning to understand the contours of what that is going to mean for our society.
Really true.
All right, more rising for you after this.